Manic Mancow back with yet another episode. Today we are working on my 1996 Dodge Dakota Widebody. You're going to see a time lapse of me working on the whole thing as the audio got corrupted in said videos. It was not working well due to the space I was in and all that other fun stuff. So I'm just going to put it all in one big time lapse for y'all to watch. As you can see right now, I'm just taking off the hood as I'm going to be completely dismantling this entire vehicle. I have a small crack in the frame, just a hairline, so I'm going to be taking everything apart on this vehicle, and then I'm going to be plating and welding my vehicle. As you can see, I'm just taking off the hood for now, as this is the start to any good video. There's 4 bolts holding that on. Pretty simple stuff. Yes, I'm working by myself as I didn't get no one to help me take it apart. I have had a couple people over looking at it, but no one really there to help me work on the truck as is. It does run in the current state. Does run, but with wanting to fix the crack, and then I decided since I have to pull apart the front end to fix the crack, I might as well go through and paint the frame as well. Paint the frame, underbody, and anything that you see on there that is currently red will all be painted black. So, right here is where I start taking off the front grille. There are a couple Phillips screws holding on the headlight bezels, which hold on the grille itself. So all the headlights, turn signals, and the grille will be coming off here. The bumper that you see is currently welded on. The previous owner welded that metal bar directly to the frame. So, but it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. I might change it up. I might not. We'll see in how it goes. If you're enjoying this video so far, consider liking, subscribing. No, I don't ask much. Maybe leave a comment if you have any good ideas, tips, or anything like that. I'm always open to new suggestions. Trying to grow the channel a little bit more, as I'm just starting out doing a voiceover. This is the first one. But yeah. There's off the headlight bezels, and here comes the grille. Next will be the headlights coming out. They're just held on by a couple bolts on the back. I'm not able to tell you what any size is, as this is all after said and done videos shortened down that I'm talking, because like I said, audio is corrupted. Next, I'll be taking off the fenders. Right now I'm working on the right hand side fender. Gotta take that off. So on this truck, the inner fender and the outer fender are 2 separate fenders. The way this truck was put together before I got it, what they did is they put a fiberglass part over, and they cut out the original outer fender for the front. On the back end, which I'm not going to show on here, what they ended up doing was they cut the inner fender well, and then they rolled it out somehow. I do not know exactly how they did it, as I did not get the chance to find the previous owner or talk to him. I bought it off an auction, so. But here comes out the headlight on the right side. Let's see. There are a couple bolts up front as well on the fender holding this in. that's me just going through and putting all the bolts back together. So I don't lose anything or misplace anything. I'm putting all the bolts back in their original locations, as seen me putting it back on the headlight. There I'm taking off the piece that's behind the hood. I'm not 100% sure what's that called off the top of my head, but it is a piece nonetheless. Either way, it's going to have to come off so it can all get painted. There comes that piece. I don't know what it is called. Someone wants to leave a comment saying what it's called. That'd be cool. I will go through all of them. That piece does have to come off before the fenders can come off anyways, as that piece is bolted on top of the fenders. So it's over the fender lip that's bolted down. It's hiding a couple bolts, so that piece did need to come off to be able to take the fenders off. But yeah, that's always fun. More things that I have to put back together when it's time. Didn't have the right tool there in the barn. I had to run over to the garage, so that's where I disappeared to. As I am right now not in the garage, another project is in there at the moment. This one's a little bit longer. Didn't want to take up the garage for the entire winter, as I still need to be able to get in there to work on other things if anything else breaks. So this one had to be relocated to the barn. But at least I still got a roof over my head. It might be a little cold working on everything, but nothing I can do about that. So there are a couple bolts down on the backside next to the cab door for the fenders. That's what I was taking out right there. I'm not moving the camera around, so this is going to be the only position you get to see during Said and Which. Here comes out the inner fender. That's what I'm taking off right now. Working above the wheel. There's a couple bolts in there. I'm not exactly sure on how many though anymore. I'll know when I end up putting it back together. If anybody's got any good tips or tricks to remove a bunch of rust off the frame, all it is surface rust. There's no erosion on the frame itself. It's just a bunch of surface rust. Anyone who knows how to remove it, yes, I'm aware of wire wheel and sandblasting. Sandblasting is a little bit out of my price range, as I don't have the money for that here at the moment. As for wire wheel, the amount of surface that I would have to remove the rust off of would end up burning out my drill, as it is an older drill, so I'm not able to do it that way. But if anybody's got any tips and tricks, let me know. And there goes the inner fender. Well, a piece of the inner fender. There's also the wheel well part of the fender, but I don't know if I've removed that yet or not here. I'll see here shortly. As it looks, it's still in there, but there goes part of the wiring. On that side of the vehicle there, I am throwing up the computer, throwing it up on top, just to get it out of the way for now, as it does still run. I did start it up a couple times after the whole front end was apart, as I did not disconnect any of the wiring itself. But with everything that I have to take apart, there's a lot, so yeah. My guess is I'm taking apart the wheel well part of the fender now. That's coming off. There's a couple more bolts holding that on. A lot of bolts. The other side I know one spot was welded, so I will end up disappearing to grab a grinder to cut that part as well. But yeah. Other than that, the cab came off, the bed came off, the interior of the vehicle all came out. But yeah, there's a lot of work in it to this point. There's a lot more work that I have to go through to get it even further, though. So, if I could figure out how to turn on some background music for this, I would, but I don't, so you could just get to listen to me ramble. Not going for nothing too fancy with this video, but it's a thing. I do want to go out and get this vehicle timed once I'm done putting it back together. What I want to do with this vehicle, I've already V8 swapped it. There was supposed to be a video on that, and I ended up losing that in my camera roll. I would probably still have it somewhere. I'm not 100% sure where it is anymore. But I probably still have it. But I'm not 100% sure anymore, so unfortunately, if I do find it, it's only going to be recorded in a couple short clips. I don't know how much of that I actually remember taking apart. Remember recording. As I am doing this all myself and don't really have someone to help me. My biggest problem with making these videos is I forget to hit the record button most of the time. So I'll go through and do a lot of work, get it down to where I need it, forget to hit the record, and then go out, do something, and then come back and then continue working on it where I left off, and yet still forget to hit the record button. So, that is probably why I have not posted any videos. I have tried to keep up with a couple shorts here and there, but I'm still not the best at that either. There went the other fender, and now the inner fender, and then the wheel well. I did not end up recording the entire process of it getting ripped down, so I'll have to throw a couple pictures in on this at the end of this video. As I said, I did not record everything. I'm guessing I probably forgot to hit the record button again. So I'll end up throwing a couple pictures in the end on everything that is done to it as the moment. As right now it is sitting down to the bare frame as I currently speak. Yeah. In this video I also went through and got everything down, pulled the radiator. The whole front end is basically gone on this. I did not remove the front clip in this part of the video, as it will still be there. The bed, I believe, is detached. Yes. the bed is detached. In the second stall where the tailgate is, if you look past the truck, you'll see the bed sitting in there here shortly. I'm not 100% sure when, but I ended up removing that. That's just a couple bolts underneath, remove the wiring, and it was super easy to take off. I had someone come over and help me just lift it off. Taking the cab off was a little bit more work. I don't have enough room in this part here to get anything really close to it to be able to lift it off, so I had to figure out a way to do it. What we ended up doing is, after I had everything disconnected, I went through and had a couple people help me lift the vehicle up, or lift the cab up and then walk it backwards. So I pulled the frame forward a little bit more than where it sits now, lifted the cab, and then walked it backward so the frame was sitting behind the cab. But yeah, everything works. There's in total, this process took me about I want to say 3 days to do. It wasn't too hard. It was just a lot of things that I needed to do. There's a lot of little things you gotta disconnect on it, including the entire wiring harness. But nothing I can really do anything about, as it does need to get done. The only reason I'm doing it this way is because of the frame. I figured, since I'm pulling the front end apart, might as well pull off the cab and the bed, as it's only 2 other parts, and then just paint everything before I put it back together. As you can see, it is still slightly red. Everything will be nice gloss black instead of the matte black it is now. As you can see on the hood on the right hand side of the screen, it is kind of a once done paint job. What I ended up doing when I painted it is I only ever did 1 coat, and then I didn't sand it down to make it all nice and smooth, so it is a really rough texture. It is just a matte black primer with a high build to hide the couple small dents that was there. So I will be going through and removing all of it when I'm ready to paint it, or most of it, as I do need to get it all to one nice shade. My plan with that afterwards is to go through and paint it a purple-green color shift. Not sure how I'm going to like it, but I know that's what I want to do. I want to do a black base, and then in the clear coat, put a purple-green color shift sparkle in the clear coat. So that way it still looks black, but you'll have that hint of purple and green in the sunlight, depending on how it sits. Another thing I'll be doing is I'm going to be removing the computer off of this, as I do not want it electronically controlled anymore. So what I'll be doing is I'll be getting an MSD, or I'm guessing most likely an MSD Spark thing, unless I can figure out a way to make mine work without that. I'm pretty sure I could figure it out. It's not too complicated, as mine is pretty simple, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll see how it goes when it's there and done. Another thing I want to do, I'm switching it over to an EFI carburetor. I'm probably going to end up going with a Holley Sniper. I'm not sure which one yet, but I want to be able to do that instead of the fuel injection, as it gives a little, I can handle it a little bit more for my brain, versus doing the computerized, where I don't have to rely so much on that computer, because if that computer were to fail, there's nothing I can do about it. Worst case scenario, if the Holley Sniper fails, I can just throw an old school carburetor on it and call it good. No big deal, but it's still a thing. So I'm going to need an intake manifold, and obviously the Sniper. Another thing I want to do is I do want to go through and get a pro-charged, or a technically supercharged, pro-charged idea. There are a couple different models that make them, different makes that make them. I'm not 100% sure which one I'm going to go with, but we'll see. Huh, I wonder if I put these videos in backwards. As you can see, the whole front core support is loose here. It can just come right off. I will be taking it off. I don't know when, or if it was even in this video, but it's still yet a thing. As for interior, what I want to do is I want to go through and get a all black. I want to do red stitching in the seats, and then I want to do red lights on my dash instead of the current green or that blue-green color of the factory. That's the only thing that I'm going to be changing up in the dash. There is one spot in my dash that is currently like not used. It has like the spot for the gauge. I'll be going through and putting my own gauge in there for a boost gauge for the Pro Charger. But it is what it is. Right here, I am working on the electrical, taking that all apart. Biggest thing I do have to say, working on these vehicles, I end up losing my tools a lot more than anything. As you can see there, I was kind of scratching my head, where did I put my tool? That's what ended up happening. I ended up losing a couple tools during this. I ended up finding them when it was all said and done, but very much lost a couple tools. But it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it, really. So yeah, the only thing that sits in the vehicle or on the frame right now is brake lines, fuel tank, and then just enough to make it roll back and forth. So the suspension components. Wow, that was hard to say. There goes the wiring harness, the last little part of it. Nothing else there to make it run. Just kind of keeping it organized here on the floor in front of me before I ended up moving it back into the bed. Just doing a once over, making sure everything's there, everything is intact. I don't know if anybody gets the chance to work on a vehicle themselves, but it is definitely an endeavor. Hopefully you don't pick this expensive hobby. Just watch someone like me who doesn't know what they're really doing, but yet figures it out. Not much I can do, but just say, send it. Like I did in the burnout pit this last year during automotion. I ended up cooking it, so I don't know if I'll be doing a teardown on this engine. Probably not at the moment, only because it does run still pretty decent, runs pretty good at the moment. Eventually, I will be doing a teardown, as I do want to do camshaft, crank, heads, and pistons work on this engine. So I will be doing a teardown eventually, just not at the moment. There's a lot of things that I need to do, and doing the body is one of the bigger parts, so I'm getting that done. Getting it all nice and looking good. I'm hoping to have it done by March, but I doubt that's going to happen, as it is now the beginning of February. There's a lot of things I need to buy, a lot of parts that need to go on it, and a lot of things that need to get fixed and touched up. And painted on top of that. I could probably spend a solid 2 days worth of work working on just sanding this vehicle down, the body, just to be able to paint it. So, we're hoping to have it done here before summer, but the odds it takes a little bit longer than summer is a pretty good chance. We're almost done with the video here. I'm going to let y'all enjoy the last 5 minutes of the video. Just watch me monkey around with anything. We'll see how much more I get done. Like I said, I will post the pictures at the end of this video of how it looks at the moment. Not much I can do about it, but yet continue to work on it. Once again, if you liked the video, give it a like, and then possibly subscribe, see more content. I don't know what it would be. It could be doing something like this, or it could be out drag racing. You never know here over on this channel. I mean, I put it Manic only because it's always changing. So, thank you. Y'all have a wonderful good morning, good evening, or good night, depending on what time of day you're watching. Y'all just have a wonderful day in general. Take care now.